The year 1800 marked a turning point in American history. The young nation, still finding its footing after the Revolution, prepared for its first transfer of power. Thomas Jefferson, a man of great intellect and conviction, won the presidential election. He defeated the incumbent, John Adams. This transition from one political party to another happened peacefully. It was a testament to the strength of the newly formed republic. The world watched as Jefferson, principal author of the Declaration of Independence, took the helm. He was ready to guide America into the 19th century. Jefferson, a man of contradictions, embodied the hopes and anxieties of a nation. He was a slave owner who championed liberty, an aristocrat who believed in the common man. His presidency, from 1801 to 1809, would be marked by both triumph and tribulation. It would lay the groundwork for the nation America would become. The dawn of the 19th century was a time of immense change. The Industrial Revolution was beginning to reshape the world. Napoleon's ambitions cast a long shadow across Europe. America, caught between these forces, sought to chart its own course. Jefferson, with his vision of an agrarian republic, stood at the helm. The election of 1800 was more than just a changing of the guard. It was a seismic shift in American politics, often referred to as the Revolution of 1800. For the first time, power transitioned peacefully from one political party to another. This was a remarkable feat, unheard of in the world at that time. The Federalist Party, led by John Adams and Alexander Hamilton, had dominated the early years of the Republic. They favored a strong central government and close ties with Great Britain. The Democratic-Republican Party, led by Jefferson and James Madison, advocated for states' rights, limited government, and closer ties with France. The campaign was fierce and divisive, marked by personal attacks and bitter accusations. Yet, when the dust settled, it was clear that the American people had spoken. They chose Jefferson and his vision for a more decentralized agrarian republic. The peaceful transfer of power was a testament to the strength of American institutions and the commitment to the rule of law. It set an important precedent for the future, demonstrating that political change could occur without violence or upheaval. The Revolution of 1800 solidified the United States' commitment to democracy and ensured the survival of its fledgling government. Thomas Jefferson, a man of the Enlightenment, envisioned an America vastly different from the one he inherited. He believed in a nation of small farmers, independent and self-sufficient. He saw a government that governed least, governed best. He wanted to reduce the national debt, which he believed was a threat to liberty. Jefferson's vision was one of limited government, where the federal government would play a minimal role in the lives of its citizens. He believed in states' rights, arguing that individual states were best equipped to address the needs of their people. He sought to reduce the size and scope of the federal government, cutting taxes and slashing spending. Jefferson's presidency was marked by a series of bold actions that reflected his core beliefs. He repealed the Alien and Sedition Acts, which he believed infringed upon freedom of speech. He reduced the size of the Army and Navy, believing that a standing army was a threat to liberty, and in a move that would define his presidency, he authorized the Louisiana Purchase. Jefferson's vision was not without its critics. Federalists argued that his policies would weaken the nation and leave it vulnerable to foreign threats. They believed that a strong central government was essential to maintain order and promote economic growth. However, Jefferson remained steadfast in his convictions, believing that the best way to preserve liberty was to limit the power of government. In 1803, Jefferson authorized one of the most significant land deals in history, the Louisiana Purchase. For a mere $15 million, the United States acquired from France a vast territory that stretched from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. This doubled the size of the young nation and opened up a vast new frontier for exploration and settlement. The purchase was a stroke of both luck and opportunity. Napoleon Bonaparte, facing financial difficulties and a renewed war with Great Britain, decided to sell the Louisiana Territory. Jefferson, though initially hesitant due to his strict interpretation of the Constitution, recognized the strategic and economic importance of the territory. The Louisiana Purchase had a profound impact on the United States. It provided ample land for westward expansion, fueling the nation's growth and shaping its destiny as a continental power. It also opened up new trade routes and access to valuable resources, contributing to the nation's economic development. However, the purchase also raised complex questions about slavery, Native American rights, and the balance of power between the federal government and the states. These questions would continue to shape American history for generations to come. Section 5. Lewis and Clark, Exploring the Uncharted West. With the acquisition of the Louisiana Territory, Jefferson seized the opportunity to explore this vast and unknown land. In 1804, he commissioned the Lewis and Clark expedition, led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, to explore the Missouri River and find a water route to the Pacific Ocean. The expedition, which lasted over 2 years, was a remarkable feat of exploration and diplomacy. Lewis and Clark, along with their corps of discovery, navigated treacherous waters, crossed towering mountains, and encountered diverse Native American tribes. They documented the flora and fauna of the West, established relationships with indigenous peoples, and created detailed maps of this uncharted territory. The Lewis and Clark expedition had a profound impact on the American psyche. Their journals and reports, filled with tales of adventure and discovery, ignited the public's imagination and fueled westward expansion. They provided valuable information about the geography, resources, and inhabitants of the West. The expedition also reinforced the importance of scientific inquiry and exploration in the new nation. It demonstrated the potential for expanding American influence and commerce across the continent. Section 6. The Barbary Wars, Challenges on the High Seas. As Jefferson sought to maintain neutrality in European conflicts, he faced a growing threat from the Barbary pirates. These North African rulers demanded tribute from nations sailing the Mediterranean Sea. They threatened to seize ships and enslave crews if their demands were not met. European powers had long paid these tributes to ensure safe passage for their merchant ships. Jefferson, however, refused to be blackmailed. He believed that paying tribute only encouraged further demands and undermined American sovereignty. He dispatched the fledgling United States Navy to the Mediterranean to protect American ships and challenge the pirates' power. The First Barbary War, which took place from 1801 to 1805, saw American naval forces clash with the pirates. The war was marked by both setbacks and victories, including the daring raid on Tripoli Harbor by Lieutenant Stephen Decatur. Ultimately, the war demonstrated the growing strength and resolve of the United States Navy. The Barbary Wars, though a relatively minor chapter in American military history, had important implications. They showed that the young nation was willing to use force to protect its interests abroad. The wars also contributed to the development of a professional and capable American Navy, which would prove crucial in future conflicts. Section 7. The Embargo Act, a controversial measure. In 1807, as tensions between Great Britain and France escalated, Jefferson faced a dilemma. Both nations were seizing American ships and impressing American sailors into their navies. War seemed imminent. Jefferson, however, remained committed to his policy of neutrality. He believed that the best way to protect American interests was to avoid entanglement in European conflicts. In an effort to exert economic pressure on Britain and France, Jefferson persuaded Congress to pass the Embargo Act of 1807. This act prohibited American ships from sailing to foreign ports. It was a drastic measure intended to force Britain and France to respect American neutrality. The Embargo Act, however, proved to be a colossal miscalculation. It devastated the American economy, particularly in the Northeast, where merchants and shipbuilders relied heavily on international trade. The act led to widespread smuggling and unemployment, fueling resentment against Jefferson and his party. The Embargo Act was repealed in 1809, just days before Jefferson left office. It was replaced with the less restrictive Non-Intercourse Act. The Embargo Act, though well-intentioned, stands as a cautionary tale about the unintended consequences of economic sanctions. Section 8. The Rise of the Democratic-Republicans. Jefferson's presidency coincided with the rise of the Democratic-Republican Party, which he helped found. The party, which espoused principles of limited government, states' rights and agrarianism, gained widespread support during Jefferson's 2 terms in office. The Democratic Republicans drew support from a diverse coalition of farmers, planters, and urban workers. They opposed the Federalist policies of a strong central government, a national bank, and close ties with Great Britain. They advocated for a more decentralized government that would give more power to the states and the people. The Democratic-Republican success was due in part to their ability to connect with the aspirations of ordinary Americans. They championed the rights of the common man and promised a government that was responsive to the needs of the people. They also benefited from the Federalists' decline in popularity, which was hastened by their opposition to the War of 1812. The Democratic-Republican Party would dominate American politics for the next 2 decades, shaping the nation's political landscape and influencing the course of American history. Section 9, Marbury v. Madison, shaping the Judiciary. In 1803, the Supreme Court, under Chief Justice John Marshall, decided the landmark case of Marbury v. Madison. This case established the principle of judicial review, which gave the Supreme Court the power to declare laws passed by Congress unconstitutional. The case arose from a dispute over a last-minute judicial appointment by outgoing President John Adams. William Marbury, one of Adams's appointees, sued for his commission, which had been withheld by the new Secretary of State, James Madison. The Supreme Court, in a shrewdly crafted opinion written by Chief Justice Marshall, ruled in favor of Madison. However, in doing so, the court asserted its power to review the constitutionality of laws passed by Congress. The court declared a portion of the Judiciary Act of 1789 unconstitutional. This act had expanded the court's original jurisdiction. Marbury v. Madison was a seminal moment in American legal history. It established the principle of judicial review, which became a cornerstone of American constitutional law. This principle gave the Supreme Court a powerful check on the power of the legislative and executive branches. It helped ensure the balance of power within the federal government.